Hey everyone, so today I'm going to teach you how to breed betta fish successfully. So first of all, what I'm going to show you in this video is the tank setup to start off with. So here's a picture of my tank. I know it's not the greatest looking one, and hopefully you'll have a better looking one than mine, but it definitely did the job. So what you'll need a sponge filter in the tank, and during the reproduction, you do not turn it on, but when the fry start swimming, you can then set it to a slow bubble. You'll need a heater that heats the water between the temperatures of 80 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit, a thermometer to make sure the temperature is where it's supposed to be, and an Indian almond leaf or a styrofoam cup or whatever you have to create a place for the male betta fish to blow his bubble nest under. And what is also good to have in the tank are a couple of plants so that the female betta will have a cover to hide from the male. And as you see, I have saran wrap on top of my tank. That's because I don't have a cover, and it also um, allows me to keep all the moisture in the tank and to make sure that the temperature fluctuations between the outer area and the tank aren't too big so that the fry won't get sick or to cause the water temperatures to change too drastically. And that's about all you need to. So now after So now to start the video, I'll tell you the steps I did prior to actually introducing the male and the female in the tank together. So first of all, what I did is I put the male in a tank for about 2 weeks and I fed him bloodworms and pellets. So very rich foods to make sure that he develops really fast and that his health is at his highest point when you bring him into the breeding tank, because he won't be eating for the next 3 days or so. And I did the same thing for the female to make sure that she fills herself up with eggs. So what you have to do after that is you put the male in the breeding tank for about 1 day before you introduce the female. This will allow the male to blow his bubble nest and to be familiar with the surroundings. Afterwards, you will want to introduce the female in a glass container so that the male can see the female but can't touch her. You leave her in there for about 1 day or until she has vertical stripes on her body, like you can see in the video right now. As soon as she does, it's now safe to release the female into the aquarium very gently so you don't disturb the bubble nest under the Indian almond leaf. And when she was in the glass container, you can see the male flare at her, so that's a good sign. It means that he notices the female, and that the male is interested in her. So everything up till now seems to be going fine. So now basically what you're going to have to do and what you're going to see is a lot of aggression from the male towards the female. There might be torn fins. I did not witness any, so I guess I was lucky in that case. And yeah, so basically for the next couple of hours, maybe day to the maximum, the male will be chasing the female away from the bubble nest. However, as soon as the female is ready to breed, she will come towards the bubble nest in a submissive position, the head lowered towards the bottoms and the fin clamped. So here we can see that the male is flaring at the female and is trying to attack her, so now she sort of understands the danger and she starts to run. So this went on in my case for I think a day. I turned the lights off at night so I could allow the female to rest, and the next day, sure enough, they finally went to the embrace, which will come a bit later on in the video. So here again, it's important that you have plants or the sponge filter, for example, to provide cover for the female. And that little set of rocks there that I put was very unnecessary. It's just that I wanted the plants to stay at the bottom of the tank, but you could easily just wrap the roots with something heavy so that they stay sunken underwater. So here the male and the female are still at it. They haven't went to the submissive stance. And sorry about the focus with my camera. I was filming with a DSLR, so it's a bit hard to manually focus on the fish that move so much and so fast. So here we can see that the vertical stripes are showing up again. So that means that the embrace shouldn't be happening within the next couple of hours. So here you see the male's fins. He's flaring back at the female. and he's protecting the bubble nest. So what he's doing right now is he's chasing her away because he's telling her that he's not ready and she's not either ready. So he's chasing her away so that she doesn't damage the bubble nest or anything else. So here he's continuing the bubble nest. He's breathing air and exhaling it under the almond leaf. So now finally the embrace. I managed to only capture their last embrace. So when the fish reproduce, they do many embraces like this, and the first time you get a ton of eggs, and as the times go you get less and less eggs. So those white things that were falling were the eggs. Unfortunately, during their last embrace, the male was not able to fertilize the eggs, so he did not bring them back up to the bubble nest, and I'm pretty sure the female ate them. So like you can see that the female is in sort of looks dead. That's completely normal. This allows the male to have time to bring the eggs up to the nest. Obviously my male did not bring the eggs up to the nest, and the female seems to be either eating them or doing that herself, but I don't think she ended up bringing them up to the nest, probably because they were not fertilized. So like you can see throughout the video, the scales or the body color of the female betta changed a lot, and that depends on her mood, so I found that pretty interesting. So now all the eggs are in the bubble nest. I removed the female from the tank after the last embrace, and now we can see my male betta trying to put the eggs that fell back onto the nest. Unfortunately, he's having a very difficult time doing so for some reason. So yep, he will have to do this for the next day or 2 days until the fry actually hatch. So that's why you don't want to add more than 3 to 4 inches of water in the tank, because this makes it a lot easier for him. He'll be doing this day and night. At night you're not supposed to turn the lights off because he will not be able to see when the eggs fall. So he's still doing that, staying under the nest, making sure everything's okay, catching all the eggs that are falling. And then now we finally make it to the fry. So when the fry first hatch, they'll look like small strands of string hanging from under the bubbles, and occasionally they'll fall down and swim back up. If they fall down and can't swim back up, the male will pick them up and he will bring them back to the nest. So there we see the fry. There's about, I'd say, 100 or so fry under that nest. That's why it's important that you have lots of food, for example microworms or banana worms or Walter worms or any sort of worms, or even a brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp, which is a bit more complicated because it requires equipment to actually breed them, and it's been known that you can have a swim bladder disorder by feeding too much of that baby brine shrimp. So it's more recommended to use microworms. So now we just see the male waiting under the almond leaf just to make sure that everything's okay. And finally, after about another day or so under the leaf as the fried hatch, they are finally free swimming, which means that they completely used up their yolk sac. So now is when you have to feed them for the first time. You don't want to feed them too much because a lot of food will go to waste because their appetite isn't very big at this moment in time. And this is also when you'd want to remove the male from the tank, because now the only thing that he can actually do is eat the fry. He can't really help them in any other way. And here are more pictures of the fry, and that's a video that I filmed of all the fry sleeping under the almond leaf at night. Okay, so here are some last tips to breeding the betta fish successfully. First of all, what you'll want to do is for the first 2 weeks you'd want to clean the water as less as possible, because the more you play around with the water, the more you will endanger the fry. So if you don't want to clean your tank at all, try and feed the fish the strict minimum. Do not overfeed them or the food will decompose and it will dirty your water uselessly. Also, what you'd want to do is now after you remove the male, so after the fry are free swimming, you want to turn the lights off at night and turn them back on during the day, just like any normal fish tank. And after the 2 weeks, you do want to clean the tank oftenly enough. If you can, siphon out the dead or unneeded microworms with sponge filter air tube for the first couple of weeks because the fry are really small. It's best. You'll also probably suck up fry by accident, so you'd have to find a way to take them out of your bucket and put them back in the tank. And besides that, everything else should be pretty simple, straightforward. If you have any questions, don't be shy to ask, and I'll do my best to help you. Thanks for watching.